Hi guys! We will eat first this chocolate covered mango before I start reading.
I don't know how to speak soft-spoken.
Have tips from what? What country, love?
Thailand.
Thailand. Okay, I will read the Wild Swans, but we will first eat and see if it's
My
yummy.
outfit is from New Zealand.
How do you speak? You just really speak normally, love, but lower, quieter.
I will just eat food. I don't know how to do this.
You can eat while I read.
Okay.
That's yummy, but I think Filipino chocolate covered is yummier. The Philippine brand. The one you gave to Michael. That's yummier.
Did you taste it? We bought this in
SNR.
SNR twice when we did the 10-hour road trip
Where did you go?
from Surigao to another place. I can't say where.
Don't say. Oh, this is not too bad, love.
Yum.
It's yummy, but not yummier.
It became a bit hard. Yummy.
I think the Filipino one is not dark chocolate, but milk chocolate. This one's yummy.
Might you like it?
I will read while Maria eats, okay? You show the camera.
Sounds good to me. Eat, guys, eat. Take a bite.
The Wild Swans. Once there lived a king who had 11 sons and one daughter named Lisa. He loved them all well and played with them often. They were lucky children. But their happiness didn't last. Their father married a queen who hated children. As soon as she could, she sent Lisa to live with a farmer. She told lies about the boys and blamed them for everything, until soon the king didn't care for his sons at all. One day, the queen sent for the boys. She said, "Boys, you are, but birds you'll be. Fly away, wretched creatures." The boys turned into 11 splendid white swans. They opened their great wings and flew out of the window with a strange, sad cry. Up they went, cloud high, far and far. Lisa wasn't allowed out of the farmhouse. She had no toys or friends. Year after year went by, and she had nothing to do but look out the window and sing to the roses. She read in the prayer book and said, "Book, what is as good as you?" The wind and the book sang, "Lisa is as good," and it was true. When Lisa was 15, the king wanted to see his daughter again. The queen still hated Lisa's goodness and beauty, but she knew that the king wanted to see the child once more. She would have turned her into a swan if she had dared. Instead, she mixed a muddy, stinking stain. She smeared Lisa's face, arms, and hair with it. Then she brought Lisa to the king. When he saw the smelly, splotchy girl, he said, "She's no daughter of mine." The queen threw Lisa out. Lisa wandered through a forest, thinking of her brothers. She didn't know they were swans. She hoped to find them somehow. Night came. Lisa lay down to sleep, whispering a prayer. Fireflies hung like jewels on the bushes, sparkling in the dusky air. When Lisa woke, the sun was up. Birds sang. She found a pond and drank. When she saw the reflection of her face and arms, she cried out in horror. She scrubbed herself hard until she was clean again. Now she was hungry. She knew the earth is full of good things to eat if only one looks. She found an apple tree and had a good breakfast. Lisa walked on through the quiet forest. By nightfall, she was tired. At the forest's far edge, she lay down and slept deep. Lisa waked with the sun. A woman came by with a bucket of raspberries. She gave some to Lisa. "Please, have you seen 11 princes anywhere?" asked Lisa. "No," said the woman, "but I've seen 11 crowned swans in the river near here." She led Lisa to a high river bank. From it, they could see the sea in the distance. The woman left Lisa there. Lisa wondered where to look first. Bits of glass and stone edged the river. The water had worn them smooth. "The river never stops," said Lisa to herself. "With patience, it changes everything it touches. I'll be patient as a river. I'll look forever. I'll find my brothers." She went down the river, toward the sea. Toward sunset, she found 11 swan plums. 11 swan plums. High and far overhead, she saw a gleaming white streak that came closer as she watched. Soon she could make out the broad wing sweep of 11 swans. She hid in a clump of bushes. The swans settled on the river bank with a clatter of their big wings. The moment the sun set, Beyond the sea, the swans rose up from their feathers and changed into men. They were Lisa's 11 brothers. She came to them with a happy cry. They hugged her and cried for joy. What a good talk they had, all of them together again. They told each other all their adventures. We're swans by day, the eldest brother told her. At sundown we become men. We have to be on solid ground at dark. If we were flying at the moment of change, we'd fall down to earth. We don't live here all the time, the next brother went on. Only once a year, for 11 days, we are allowed to visit our own land. This is the happiest visit ever, for we found you, Lisa. Where do you live the rest of the year? Lisa asked. Beyond the sea. We need 2 days to fly across. We'd never manage the trip if it weren't for a rock that lies halfway across the sea. It's just big enough for us to spend the night on. In bad weather, we have to huddle close together, but it's been safe so far. When do your 11 days end? Asked Lisa. In 2 days, said the eldest. I wish you'd come with us. If only you could keep your own bodies forever, said Lisa. Lisa woke the next day to the beating of wings. Her brothers, swans once more, were flying off for the day. The youngest stayed behind. He couldn't talk, but he and Lisa looked at the world and were together. At evening, the others came back. The sun set. They became men again. Little sister, said the eldest, how brave are you? Tomorrow we leave here. Will you let us fly you over the sea? The youngest stayed behind. He couldn't talk, but he and Lisa looked at the world and were together. At evening, the others came back. The sun set. They became men again. Little sister, said the eldest, how brave are you? Tomorrow we leave here. Will you let us fly you over the sea? Yes, said Lisa, gladly. All night they worked. They wove a net of boughs and vines. At daybreak, the brothers became swans again. Lisa lay in the net. The swans took its edges in their beaks and flew off with it. The youngest swan flew overhead to keep the sun out of Lisa's eyes. She slept a while. When she woke, she ate the berries she'd brought. There was nothing but water below, wherever Lisa looked. The swans flew slower than usual, with Lisa to carry. By late afternoon, Lisa was worried. She couldn't see the rock they must reach before dark. A stormy wind blew up. Lightning flashed. The sun was at the sky's very rim, and still Lisa saw no rock. She whispered a prayer for the brothers and for herself, sure that they were lost. But just as the sun set, she saw the rock beneath, and as darkness fell, her feet touched solid ground. A minute later, her brothers were standing tall around her with linked arms. The rock was just big enough to hold them. A storm raged, but the 12 held tight and sang. The night went fast because they were brave. By dawn, the storm had ended. The air was clean and fresh. With Lisa in her net once more, the swans flew on. At noon, Lisa saw the shores of a country quite like her own. At sunset, the swans alighted near a wood. At once they turned into men and took Lisa to a green grotto where she could sleep. "I wonder what you'll dream tonight," said the youngest brother. "I hope I dream how to save you," she answered. Lisa did dream. In her dream, she met a woman. The woman was queenly, yet somehow she seemed like the woman who had given Lisa the raspberries in the wood and had told her about the 11 crowned swans. "You can save your brothers," said the woman. "Have you courage and patience? If you do try to save them, no one will understand you. You'll be tired, alone, and afraid. Here's what must be done. Near this grotto grow many nettles. They burn and sting like fire if you touch them. You must pick every last one. Only these nettles, or nettles that grow in cemeteries, will do this work. Pick them, crush them, and spin them into a green thread. Then knit 11 coats. The moment you put the coats on your brothers, they'll be free from their spell. The hardest part is this. From start to finish, you must work without speaking. If you say one word, it will be like plunging a knife into your brothers' hearts. They will die. Remember." Lisa awoke and she began gathering nettles at once. They burned and stung and blistered her hands until they were red and sore. But she kept on. She kept crushing the nettles and spinning the green thread all that day. When her brothers came that night, they saw her hard at her work. She shook her head, a finger on her lips. They knew then that she was trying to help them. She was in such a hurry. She worked all night. Next day, she kept on working. She had made one coat and part of a second when suddenly she heard the sound of hunters. When suddenly she heard the sound of hunters' horns. She bundled the nettles up and ran into the grotto. And burst into the grotto. Huntsmen followed them. The handsomest hunter was the king of that country. "How did you get here, lovely child?" he asked. She shook her head. She longed to speak, but she knew that one word would kill the swans. "Come with me," said the king. "If you're as good as you are lovely, I'll make you my queen." He set her before him on his horse. She wept, but he held her firm on his horse. "It's for your own good, little one," said the kind king. "Don't cry, I'll make you happy." Lisa did not dare speak. The king led her into the palace. His maids cared for Lisa and dressed her royally. She was so perfectly lovely that everyone who saw her loved her. Only the archbishop shook his head and muttered, "She's from the wild wood. She's too beautiful. She must be a witch." No one listened to him. The king sat next to her at dinner. They watched a ballet. They walked through gardens where fountains danced in the flower-scented air. But Lisa could think only of her brothers and her nettles, and she wept. Then the king showed her a room next to his own. He'd had it made just for her. It was hung and painted to look just like the green grotto where he had found her. On the ground was the bundle of nettles and the coats that she had knitted, just as she had left them when the hunters came. "See, little one," said the king, "this is to remind you of the hardships you've left behind. I hope to make you happier here." The sight of the nettles made Lisa feel better. She smiled and kissed the good king's hand. He believed it was a sign of love. He ordered the bells to be rung to announce his engagement. The archbishop was still muttering, but no one paid him heed, and next day Lisa married the king. She couldn't say a word, but love for the king's kind heart shone in her eyes. She was crowned his queen with much rejoicing. Lisa longed to confide in her husband, but she knew that she could not. Each night, secretly, she slipped from her bed and knitted the coats for her brothers. When she'd made 7 coats, she had no more nettles. "I must go to the cemetery," she remembered. Only cemetery nettles will do." Though she was afraid, she went to the cemetery. The moon made weird shadows across the graves. Lisa was sure witches hid in those shadows, and she was frightened. But she said a prayer and bravely gathered the nettles. Then she hurried back as quietly as she had left. She thought no one knew she'd been out, but the sly, jealous archbishop had seen her. Now he was sure Lisa was a witch. He told the king. At first the king would not believe him. "Why don't you watch her?" sneered the jealous archbishop. "See if she goes there again." Doubt touched the king's heart. He hated to spy, but he hoped he'd be able to tell the Archbishop how silly he was. For several nights, he only pretended to be asleep. He saw Lisa get up and go to her little grotto room. Her work was almost done. 10 coats were ready, but she had no more nettles. She would have to go once more to the cemetery. The idea terrified her, but she set her will to it for her brother's sake. That night, when Lisa went to the cemetery, the king and the archbishop were following. They saw the witches gathered into the shadows. The king looked no more. He ran home, full of love and despair. He was sure that his beloved Lisa must be a witch. She must burn at the stake, he wept. It is the law. Poor Lisa was put into a dungeon. Her bed was a bundle of nettles and a finished coat. She needed no more to be content. Near sunset time, a shadow of wings fell across the jail window. It was a swan. It was a swan. Her youngest brother had found her. Now Lisa was calm, and she continued her work all through the night. She might burn for it, but the coats were almost done, and her brothers were at hand. She'd save them yet. An hour before dawn, the brothers went as princes to the king, but they were not allowed to see him. It's too early. The king will sleep. The king still sleeps, said the guard. They kept trying until dawn. Then 11 swans flew sadly away. Crowds came to the city gates to watch the witch burn at the stake. Lisa was brought out in a cart. Even when she did not leave her work, even then she did not leave her work. The 11th coat was almost done. It lacked only a sleeve. See the witch. She's still messing with her dirty magic, yelled the mob. They started to crowd around the cart. They started to crowd around the cart to take the work from her hands. Then down from the sky came 11 white swans and settled in a ring around the cart. Many murmured, "It's a sign of purity. She must be innocent," but they did not say the words aloud. The executioner stopped the cart, ready to take Lisa. She stood up and tossed the coats over the swans' heads. Immediately they became 11 splendid princes. The youngest had one arm and one swan's wing, for Lisa hadn't had time to finish the sleeve. "Now I must speak," she cried. "I'm innocent." The people crowded around gladly to hear her story, but she fainted away, too worn out to speak. Her elder brother told the story for her. As she spoke, there came the scent of millions of roses. Every log laid about the stake had taken root. Bushes sprang up and burst into a riot of red roses. Above the red flowers swayed one rose that was star white. The king picked it and put it in Lisa's hands. She opened her eyes and joy filled her heart. All the bells in all the churches in the land rang out of their own accord. Flocks of singing birds winged in on every side. No king ever had so splendid a celebration as nature made for Lisa and her lord that day. That's the end, guys. Did you like it, guys? Mary, are you sleeping? No. Okay, guys, I hope you like this video. If you did, please give it a like, a thumbs up. Please click on your notification bell so you will know when I upload a video. Please subscribe to this channel, ScorpioAnnYT. Please click on my husband's ASMR channel. Please go to my husband's ASMR channel, Michael Soothing ASMR, and my daughter's 2 channels, Ariaville and Art and Beauty Freak. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I love you.